Every team knows which play can be a winning move. I'm State Farm Agent Andy Womack, here to help life go right by combining your home and auto insurance. Call me today at 615-890-0850. It's a winning move that saves you time and money. Your ride, your stuff. You live with them together. I'm State Farm Agent Andy Womack. It's smart to protect them together to help life go right. Give me a call at 615-890-0850 and let me help you save by combining your auto and renters.
As attic insulation, I can just lie around.
Yeah, and you save homeowners up to 30% on their heating bills. Still, you need some exercise.
But I'm saving them hundreds of dollars.
2 words, jumping jacks.
No way, bud. I need some rest. Could you fluff my pillow?
Call Roscoe Brown Heating and Air to get your home's insulation in shape.
Oh, and pass the Cheetos.
RoscoeBrown.com. Give us a call.
Roscoe Brown. RoscoeBrown.com.
We're the Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com.
From the first pitch to the final buzzer, this is where the conversation starts. All sports talk on WGNS and Big G TV, covering the Preps, MTSU, news from Tennessee and nationwide. Now, here's All Sports Talk on the Good Neighbor Network.
And a good Monday afternoon to you. Dick Palmer in, and got a couple of special guests we're going to be talking with today on All Sports Talk. I'd like to welcome in Scott Hall, who is the baseball coach at the Webb School in Bell Buckle, Tennessee, former Blue Raider assistant coach, former Belmont assistant, and John Callow. John is my broadcast partner for Blue Raider Baseball and has been for 20 years. John is retired from the city and formerly a sports writer and columnist for the Daily News Journal. So, gentlemen, welcome in. It is cold outside, but we're going to be talking some hot stove league baseball today. Scott?
Dick, in another 2 weeks, what we'll say is, it's a great day for baseball, even though it's 42 degrees and snowing out there. Let's play some baseball.
We know about this cold weather baseball, don't we?
I remember a day at MTSU when I think we started a doubleheader at 23 degrees and trying to get the ice off the warning track. Whew, it wasn't a whole lot of fun, and we may have some of that weather heading this way. But, Dick, thanks for having me.
We were heading to Cookeville one night, and it was already spitting snow, and it was going to be a night game in Cookeville. And Coach Peterson, when he got on the bus, everybody's talking about how cold it was, and he turned around and he said, "Y'all can talk about the weather as long as you want to, but when you step off this bus, I don't want to hear one blankety-blank word about it." And that was it.
Now, let me tell you, back in my days of covering middle for the paper, I remember doing an interview with Pete after a ball game in Cookeville, and it is snowing as we're talking. That was one of the shortest interviews I ever had with Pete.
So we've all been associated, Scott, with cold weather baseball.
Yeah, I guess we could talk. It wouldn't hurt my feelings if college baseball got pushed back just a little bit. But I know some Division II baseball starts this weekend. So
good luck.
Good luck with that forecast I've seen playing baseball this weekend for sure.
I certainly hope that some tremendous changes have been made already in college baseball, but that was not one of them. I think maybe in the future it could be, but you never know.
Yeah, it's a tough juggling act with summer baseball and the calendar of the school year and all that, and the money that it takes to keep those kids on campus once school's out. So I don't know that it's going to change, but the older I get, the more my body doesn't enjoy this kind of weather, the more I'd like for it to change.
Scott Hall is the baseball coach, as I mentioned, at the Webb School in Bell Buckle. He's a native of Shelbyville. John Callow was the first baseball coach at the Webb School in Bell Buckle.
That's right.
And he is a native of Memphis. So I can understand a little bit better about you being at Bell Buckle than I can you, John, being from West Tennessee.
Well, I was a boarding student. I actually went to school there. And when I graduated from Southwestern, which is Rhodes College now, I went back and was hired to teach English. And I had played baseball at Southwestern, and so I wrote the athletic director. That was the first year we were in the TSSAA. We played 3 sports, and one of them was baseball, one of them was basketball, the other one was soccer, and that was 15 or 20 years before soccer was a sanctioned sport in Tennessee. So I wrote the athletic director, and I said, I would really love to be your assistant baseball coach, because I knew this guy had played some professional ball. He was a baseball guy. And I didn't hear from him all summer, and I showed up to go to work, and he said, I got your letter. And I said, oh, okay. He says, you're not going to be the assistant. He says, you're it. And I was about 6 weeks short of my 22nd birthday at the time, but we started that program.
So how did you evolve into being the head coach at Webb, Scott?
Well, baseball, I think, had come and gone at times over the history of Webb, and there was about a 6 or 7 year period of time that there hadn't been a baseball team from my later years at MTSU, and the athletic director asked me if I would do some consulting and tell them what plan they might need to follow to get the program back up and running. And I went over and I met with them, and I told them what I thought needed to be done if it was going to be a competitive program. And from a facility standpoint, I'd love to hear John's story about what the field was like in 1970. But
I'll tell you.
But I gave them all this stuff and said, need this, this, and this. And after I met with them, the question came, well, if there was a commitment to do those things, would you be willing to be the coach? And I said, well, you didn't tell me that on the front end. But I had missed coaching. I had left MTSU, and just because when you have young kids at home, sometimes being a recruiting coordinator at the Division I level is a lot. And I had missed a lot of Preston, who was
he 6 or 7 at the time, or younger than that?
So that was 16. That was 10 years ago. He's 18 now, so he would have been 9 years old at the time. So I'd missed a few too many of his baseball games at the time. He was starting to play golf, and I didn't want to miss that. So I'd gotten out, but I had missed coaching. So, and I did really like the thought of taking a program that didn't exist at the moment and building it from a situation where we didn't have a single player on that entire campus that had ever played a pitch of high school baseball. So I enjoyed that process, and this is year 5 of that, and we had a good team last year. We have a good team this year, so I've enjoyed building that, and it's been fun. And Webb did commit, and the facilities there are something we're really proud of, and it's something I've enjoyed thoroughly.
Well, and John, you weren't there as long as Scott has been there, but you had some of the same problems, I'm sure.
Well, I had a whole team of people that had never played it out of of high school baseball, for sure. But we had a little bit different situation, because we're talking about the 71, 72 seasons from my time. That was before we had divisions. Wow. In baseball. So we played in a region, and we kind of divided it in half. And then that first year, I was in a region with Franklin County, with Shelbyville, with Warren County. Who else was in there? It was a bunch of big schools. And then the second year, they moved us into the north, and I'll never forget coming up here to Murfreesboro to play Murfreesboro Central. My 150 kids, we had 150 kids in school, and that was the last year of Central, so they were probably up, close to 4,000. Wow. And we played out at the old Babe Ruth Park
on Highland, yeah.
On Highland. And Jerry Anderson hit a home run that I think is probably still in orbit. It was a 4.5 inning ball game. 10-run rule. Could have been 10-run ruled after the second, I think. So.
Well, we all have been in that situation, saying, "Come on, 10-run rule." Whether you're winning or losing, it's no fun to be playing in a game like that, is it?
It's not. There's a point where you just don't get much out of it on either side.
So you play baseball in high school?
I did. I played. I went to Shelbyville Central and played college baseball to Division III level. I went to Maryville College and had a good experience. And I've got to get back to a Division III game. I think college baseball's really evolved with COVID and transfer portal and things like that. I think the quality of baseball at the Division III level has really gone up. And I would love to go back and kind of catch a game or two at that level.
Because John played at Southwestern, and that was a lower level.
Well, that was when it was still large college, small college before. But of course, they're a D3 school. We had always had an interesting schedule because all of those northern teams would come down and they'd come in for a weekend and they'd play a doubleheader at our place, knowing that they were going to win 2. Then they'd go over to Christian Brothers and play a doubleheader and split. Then they'd go to Memphis State and get beat twice. And so they'd come to Memphis and they'd be 3-3 when they left.
You had northern schools come down to play Maryville?
Yes. At that time, and even now, I think the Ohio, Pennsylvania, the northern schools in Division III are strong. They have really good, strong athletics, but yeah, they would come down and play at Maryville, and it was a fun experience for sure. But I don't remember those schools playing Maryville one day and Carson Newman the next and Tennessee the next.
That's about a 20-year difference, right, which is part of it, because by then they'd gone to the full D3, D2. Yeah.
So did you guys ever play Tennessee?
We did not. We did play Carson Newman, but
good program, Carson Newman.
Sure, sure. But we did not play Tennessee. No, that was the Tennessee kind of heyday. I think maybe the first time they'd been in the College World Series. Todd Helton was on the team. R.E. Dickey. Those guys, that was that time frame when I was in college.
Well, I always enjoyed when we go to Vanderbilt, Dick, because they've got that big media guide, and I can always look, and I'll see the last game that they played against Southwestern, and I know that game because that was the game that I had my one at-bat in college.
Well, was it to give us the result?
It was a full rolling slow hopper back to the pitcher, but he had to come off the mound. It was almost like a swinging bunt. Let me tell you.
Well, John, with your blazing speed, you should have beaten that out. I
was out by 6 steps, I'm sure.
You were a really good college baseball player.
I don't know if I was really good. I did not have blazing speed. I was more of a contact guy, but I did have a good experience and played. And as kids these days, trying to figure out what they want to do at the next level, go somewhere where you can play and have a good experience, and play at a good place where you can enjoy your teammates and get a great education.
Did you ever think when you were playing that you were going to be a coach someday?
Yes, I pretty much wanted to be a coach from high school days on. I enjoyed coaching. I enjoyed the game days a lot from a thinking standpoint, how the flow of the game goes, and I enjoy that a lot. So,
and John, how did you become a baseball person?
Growing up in Memphis.
You didn't play in high school.
No, we had intramurals. I played some intramurals, but Southwestern was probably the only school in the entire universe that I could have gone and played college baseball. I remember we had a guy who once told us that one of my teammates said, this is the only campus in the world that you got to hide the fact that you're a varsity athlete. So yeah, I was the 25th man on the 25 man, but just being there, being part of the team. I caught batting practice every day. My knees still tell me about catching bat, and that was when you did have catchers catching batting practice. They don't do that anymore.
You still have a lot of sympathy with the bullpen catchers, don't you?
Yeah. When I wasn't catching batting practice, I was warming pitchers up in the bullpen, and we had a lot of bullpen work.
So I've asked you to come speak to the team at some point, but I'll tell them that your idea is for us to now have catchers catching batting practice. So we'll see how the catchers respond.
Oh, they'll love that, won't they?
Okay.
The thing is, your team will never have to pick up rocks out of the infield, though.
All right, we will take a break and continue our conversation talking with Scott Hall, who is the baseball coach at the Webb School in Bell Buckle, and John Callow, who was the former coach of the Webb School Feet. And let's tell you that we'll be back right after this.
Good afternoon. Starting to build a little bit more volume. 65 north here at OHP up through the Madison area. A little bit slow, not like it normally is on 65 north there at Rivergate Parkway. THP's wrapping up a wreck 840 eastbound around Natchez Trace Parkway through that stretch of Williamson County. STR Towing and Recovery reminds you to please move over if you see flashing lights. If you need a tow here in Middle Tennessee for a car or a truck, call STR Towing and Recovery. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Whether you need general vehicle upkeep and maintenance or a complete vehicle overhaul, Hall's Auto Care is here for you. We're locally owned and operated by Greg Hall and have been in business since 2014. You'll get excellent service and trustworthy advice with Hall's Auto Care. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. We're ready to help get you safely on the road. Hall's Auto Care, 907 Ridgely Road, just off Broad Street behind Chili's. Online at hallsautocare.net. Hall's Auto Care.
When severe weather strikes, we break in.
A tornado watch is in effect for Rutherford County.
The most up-to-date weather information.
We'll be here with you on radio and with Rutherford Weather Video Channel.
Rutherford weather updates on WGNS and watch on YouTube and Facebook with Rutherford Weather.
Sometimes, strange things can happen.
Coast to coast, all night, every night.
There's really no reason to be afraid.
On WGNS, AM, FM, online.
It's all sports talk from the Good Neighbor Network, FM 1019, 100.5, AM 1450, wgnsradio.com, and Big G TV.
Welcome back into All Sports Talk for this Monday afternoon. Dick Palmer with you. Scott Hall, baseball coach at the Webb School in Bell Buckle, is my guest, along with John Callow, who also had that position at one time many years ago. And John,
it's like over 50 now.
When I closed the session at the first segment a minute ago, I mentioned the Webb School Feet. Now, you were going to tell us how that nickname came about.
I can tell you because I was in the room when it was created. The first year that we were in the TSSAA, which was the 70-71 school year, we were not the Feet. We were the Ropers. And which makes no sense at all unless you're Webby, because then you've heard the story about how Sonny used to tell the guys before they left for vacations, don't let the Ropers get you. Well, that first year we would go to all those. We went to Rockville High School, Christiana High School, all these places, Auburndale, to play basketball, and they nobody got it. It was like rope the lasso the Ropers and tie. So the next year, Roy Johnson came in to be the athletic director. He had been the principal at Christiana High School, and he was going to be the basketball coach as well. Later on, he was the school superintendent in Bedford County. And it was in the fall, And Mike Milholland, you might have heard that name. I think Mike still got the all-time rebounding record or something like that for Middle Tennessee.
I think I saw that game.
Yeah. Well, Spike was one of my colleagues, and he had been the basketball coach, but when Roy was hired, they made Mike the soccer coach. He knew about as much about soccer as I did, so I was his assistant soccer coach, since neither one of us knew anything about it. And I remember we came up after soccer practice, and we're sitting in the office with Roy, and Roy says, "We really need a new name." And so we kind of just, we kind of jawboned it, and he says, "I got it. We're going to be the Feet." And Milhound said, "Huh?" And I said, "I think that's cool." And we became the Feet.
How about that, Scott?
I had not heard that story. It's a good conversation piece when people find out you're the Feet. And I have grown to appreciate it and grown to like it. I'll put it that way.
It's really cool. There's nobody else that's the Feet.
No, absolutely
nobody
not.
else would have the courage to do it, I think.
So nobody can sue you for stealing their
right.
nickname.
Yeah, that's right. That's
okay,
right.
Scott, after you got out of high school and went to Maryville, and we talked about your thoughts about maybe being a coach. So when did you actually start your coaching career?
My very first job out of I went an extra semester to school. I had to do my student teaching in the 5th year. I took a job at East Ridge Middle School, and I was the assistant middle school coach. And the athletic director at Shelbyville at that time was Jimmy Williams, who had been my high school coach, and his sons now work at Smyrna football. Good friends of mine, and he had called and said, "Would you be my replacement at Shelbyville?" And I said, "I'm a little young, but I'll give it a shot." So I took over that very next year at Shelbyville. Was there 7 years, and it was a fun process. And then I went into college after that. I went to Belmont for 6 years, and then when Coach McGuire asked me to come over to Middle, that was certainly one of the biggest honors of my life there. So, but yeah, Shelbyville Central head coach at 23, 24 years old at that time.
So both of you guys started real young.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was right out of college and thrown right into the mix.
Yeah, it's amazing how facilities have changed over the years. I was proud to have been at Shelbyville when I played the first game on that field and helped lay the blocks for the dugouts and things like that. And boy, if you get a chance, go to Shelbyville Central and look at their facility that they're putting together right now. We're talking one of the most beautiful facilities you've ever seen in high school baseball, and for that matter, it's college baseball. For that, it's unbelievable what they're doing now.
Mr. Callow was an English teacher. What did you teach at Shelbyville?
Math. I was a math teacher. I love math. I'm not sure I could pass the teacher test anymore, but I like math, but I'm not ready for the calculus test anymore.
So calculus. I tried calculus for about 6 weeks in college. Dropped it the day after the drop. So there's a WF on my transcript from calculus.
So you were at Shelbyville at the same time Rick Unsell was there. Is that right?
Oh, yes. I got to be, I was a student there when probably Rick's teams were the dominant 100-plus winning streak. I was a student then, and then got to be really close with Rick when I was teaching there. And then he came to Middle a year or two before I went into college coaching. And then, as life happens sometimes, I ended up being at Middle at the same time he was, and definitely consider him a good friend and still see him from time to time. My son's big into golf, and so they cross paths on the golf course there a time or two there in Shelbyville in the summertime.
So in the press box at the baseball field at Reese Smith, John and I would sit up there, and and we would watch Preston down over by the clubhouse in that open area between the clubhouse and the field, and he'd be playing baseball out there.
That's right.
And he is now an outstanding golfer, I understand.
He is. He's going to play golf in college, and he played baseball up until the junior year, and I think he and the coach had philosophy differences, and he decided the golf course would be more fun to be at in the spring. So, but yeah, he's a hard worker on the golf course, and he's working hard in the weight room right now. So, I was cleaning out the garage at home a week or so back, and I found a sheet of paper where he had done his scouting report on the Blue Raider baseball team when we were there.
You were coaching
and it was Ronnie Jababi, Michael Adkins, Heath Slatton was on there, and I won't tell what his grades were for some of those guys, but it was pretty detailed. He was serious about it at the time.
So I was. You mentioned that new facility, a baseball facility in Shelby. You've got a pretty decent facility now in Bell Buckle.
Very, very proud of our facility. When I first got there, they turfed the infield, did a nice outfield wall, did a lot of brick facade to down each line and the dugouts, and the stands area had bricks and bucket seats, and I was very, very proud of that. And then last year, we kind of took it up another level. We have a covered hitting training area. It's got brick columns, and it looks enclosed. It looks like an enclosed building, but, every now and then you kind of wish it was enclosed because of the temperature. But for the most part, it's great. And then we built I don't know of anybody that has anything quite like this, but we built a press box, concession stand, clubhouse on the field in the right field. So it's actually got a line that goes up the building that is the foul pole, and it plays like the Green Monster does at Fenway Park. So you have to hit it over the building to be a home run, and then it makes it a little tricky, makes it a little short porch down the right field line, and the softball field is directly behind, and so it serves both baseball and softball, and that was just the best place to do it where it could serve both sports. So the press box actually goes out both sides of the building, one toward softball and one toward baseball. And been really proud of that building. Locker rooms are great. Of course, we needed concession stand and public bathrooms down there for sure. So facility-wise, we're tough to beat. Of course, there's so many great facilities in Murfreesboro at the high schools, and then I did mention Shelbyville, but ours is great. TBCA, Tennessee Baseball Coaches Association, just recognized us as being Facility of the Year in our division. So we're very proud of it. If you hadn't seen it, love for you to come down.
I need to come visit your new office.
You certainly do. I believe that office might be named after somebody pretty important here. So, but yeah, definitely. Give me a day's head notice so that way I can clean it up a little better.
So if John and I were doing a radio broadcast out of your press box, we would be looking down the right field line toward home plate.
Toward home plate. It would be a different viewpoint than you've probably ever had.
I don't know. The bus was kind of like
we'll
that.
We'll get into the bus in a minute.
It might be similar to what the bus was when the stadium was being built. I do recall that. I guess I coached there with Belmont at the time when that was happening. But yeah, when we were doing it, somebody said, "Well, it's just too far from home plate. How can you know what the calls are or who's being replaced?" I said, "Well, how far is the press box at a major league stadium? It's the same distance. It's just up."
Yeah.
So it doesn't have. It's not perfect. No facility is perfect, but for what we needed for it to serve baseball and softball, it's we're proud of it anyway.
Okay, so the bus. John and I survived a season on the bus, broadcasting from one of the MTSU buses, which it had been taken out of service because it was broken down. They towed it over and put it down the right field line, and it was quite an experience.
What was it in the bullpen now?
No,
or was it in
far?
Okay,
it was more like in front of the dugouts, wasn't it? Or it was in foul territory.
Oh yeah, foul territory. It seemed like to me it was in that area between the bullpen and where
you walk out of the
right,
indoor
right.
facility. Okay, yeah.
That was an adventure that year.
we adapted to it.
We did.
And what was really funny was to see the visiting broadcasters coming in. They had not seen anything like that.
No.
But we do appreciate the facilities that we got the next year and have had ever since. One of the best broadcast locations in Conference USA.
Anytime you had to go to Kennesaw State and climb that ladder to sit on top of the press box, yeah, we appreciate.
Yes.
Or go to Cookville.
Have to sit outside in the sleet and snow.
I believe Kennesaw has just recently made some major upgrades, and
they have a revamped stadium this year. So talk about the Marshall trip when the fog came in.
Oh wow! You know,
John was not on that trip.
No, I was not on that one.
The older I get, sometimes the more I forget. But I believe that was a weekend that, if it would have gone a little better for us, we could have won the conference title in the regular season that year. We were leading, I believe, that weekend, and we played those 2 games Sunday where you couldn't see the center fielder. And at the time, I don't believe Marshall was that strong. We were wanting to play the games because we thought we could at least win 2 or 3, and I believe we only won 1 of the 3 that weekend.
I think that's right. And we may have played the first game in Huntington.
We did.
But then, I don't know why they moved the game, but they moved into another town, which was an hour away, I guess, up in the mountains.
It was, and I believe it rained us out the next day, and the pro team was playing.
That's what it was.
The pro team was in town. That's what it was, because we went, Murfreesboro name, we went the Friday night and watched Austin Coley, who I had recruited to Belmont. He was from Siegel. He was pitching that night, so we got to see him pitch in, was that high A there? I don't remember what.
That was the Sally League.
But we were in the...
so it was low A.
Okay.
Well, we're going to have to break this off and take a commercial break. We will do that now. I'm with Scott Hall. John Callow will be back after this on All Sports Talk.
If someone asked, "What's your more?" would you be surprised? Well, at First Bank, knowing your more is where we start. Whether it's seeing your kid's college graduation, seeing the world, or seeing the ocean from your patio, your more helps us see who you are. That's why First Bank offers you more time, more access to local lenders and leaders, more answers, and more products. So tell us, what's your more? First Bank. Bank local. Get more. Member FDIC.
When you have fire, water, or storm damage, Farrah Construction can help. Farrah Construction is also there to help when a car slams through the wall. Call Farrah Construction and we'll board up, put down tarps, secure your home or business until the insurance coverage is approved. Call Farrah Construction at 615-893-6120. I'm Ron Hall. Shop local. Let our family business help you. Farrah Construction Company.
Back in 1985, when Toots first opened, there were very few restaurants in this town. We've seen hundreds of them come and go, and yet we are still so blessed to be in business and be doing business here in Rutherford County.
This is Nick Hayes with Toots Restaurants. After 40 years, we still got them. $6.99 daily lunch specials. Stop by Toots.com and check them out.
Thank you for dining with us since 1985.
Thank you, Rutherford County.
Thank you for dining with us for 40 years.
Next on All Sports Talk, it's the Blue Raider Insider Report with Chip Walters of Exit Realty, Bob Lamb and Associates.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It'll go down as an instant classic at Murphy Center on Saturday afternoon. The Blue Raiders got a 90-87 double overtime victory over Missouri State. And the Blue Raiders got a big defensive play by Torrey Alston, stopping possibly Missouri State's best player in Keith Pallick. And then Javin Carter, after being fouled, hit 2 clutch free throws to give Midland a 90-87 win. The Blue Raiders now 11-7 overall. We could probably talk all afternoon about different key points in that ball game, but Nick McDevitt had his post-game comments.
Happy with that win. It was a hard-fought one. Obviously, when you're playing a long stretch like that, double overtime, you want to come out there with the win because there's a lot that's gone into it at that point. It wasn't perfect, but the effort was really there. I thought we stayed tough. I thought we stayed together. Had too many turnovers, gave up some offensive rebounds on some missed free throws by them. They made some timely threes, particularly in the overtimes. You just felt like every time we were starting to stretch it, they banged one in. And, it didn't deflate us. We came down and got big buckets. Obviously, Kamari shot the ball really well from behind the arc. Torrey had some big rebounds, but Chris Loof, I thought, just stayed tough trying to guard 23. Man, he is a load. I said this earlier. The new Titans coach needs to look at that sucker because he is big and strong and tough and got great hands. He's just very different because he's 6'3" or 6'4" at 275, 280. I mean, how often does anybody guard somebody like that? And it just puts strain on your defense. Do you double him? Do you not? But I just thought our guys kept fighting, just found a way to get a win, particularly coming off the disappointing loss the other night down at La Tech. You got to not let one disappointing loss carry over for 2 or 3 days, and now all of a sudden one becomes 2.
After the win, Middle finds themselves all alone in second place in Conference USA behind Liberty, who is 7-0, Middle 5-2. Western Kentucky and Missouri State losses dropped them into a tie for third with Kennesaw State and Jacksonville State, all 4 teams at 4-3. Sam Houston now 3-4, along with New Mexico State and Louisiana Tech. FIU and UTEP are 2-5, and Delaware is at 1-6. Lady Raiders had a squeaker on Saturday as well. The Blue Raiders held off Sam Houston by a score of 68-67 at Johnson Coliseum. The Blue Raiders overcame an early deficit and took control in the second half, outscoring the Bearcats 23-17 in the third quarter, which contributed to the momentum in a game that featured 8 lead changes. Middle had a 68-60 lead late, and it was a 7-0 run by Sam Houston that closed the gap to 1. That was win number 499 for Coach Rick Insel. He'll go for number 500 on Thursday night against Delaware. Tickets, by the way, 500 pennies or $5 will get you in for that ball game. Middle all alone in first place at 5-1. Sam Houston and La Tech and Missouri State all 4-1. Then you've got FIU, Jacksonville State at 3-2, New Mexico State 3-3, Liberty at 2-3, Kennesaw State and Delaware are 1-4. UTEP and Western Kentucky are at 1-5. And a final note, Blue Raider tennis got their 2026 spring season underway in style on Friday, knocking off 2 local rivals, Lipscomb and Tennessee Tech, by identical scores of 7-0. That's it for today. We'll have an update for you tomorrow right here on the Big G, WGNS.
It's All Sports Talk from the Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9, 100.5, AM 1450, WGNSradio.com, and Big G TV.
Back with you for our final segment on All Sports Talk for this Monday afternoon. Scott Hall, baseball coach at the Webb School in Bell Buckle, is my guest, along with John Callow, who also occupied that position, albeit a few years ago. Now, where were we?
55 years ago.
Yeah, where were we when we took the commercial break? I had to stop you guys.
We're having too much fun.
Marshall.
Yeah, we were at Marshall in the fog. And I can't recall the name of that little town, but they had a nice facility if you could have seen it. But the fog came in the mountains, and Scott mentioned you could not see the center fielder.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Our third baseman made a heck of a play in that game, I remember.
Right. Yeah, there were some really good plays. I believe Ronnie made a great play in center field where he came from we didn't see him to diving in under the fog and made a play. He
was not averse to making big league style plays in center field.
Yeah.
Certainly a big league center fielder for sure. Could really go get it. Really, really good player. Made probably the best catch I've ever seen at Rice that year. Just an exceptional athlete.
You at Middle worked with the hitters primarily, and how did that get to be kind of a specialty of yours?
I worked with hitters at Belmont. I ended up working with the outfielders at Middle as well. You know, Coach McGuire does such a great job with the infielders. He's light years ahead of me as an infield coach. But I had done the infielders at Belmont at the end of my time there. But I'd always done the hitters. I enjoyed working with the hitters. Not, this day and age is a little more technology-based, and it's changed a lot. But I still enjoy the coaching hitters, especially from a mental standpoint.
Do you think you could have taught myself or John how to hit a curveball?
I would have tried. I don't know. We would have done a lot of different things, but some of that they do more studies about that as we get a little more smarter. Sometimes the brain just doesn't calculate those things.
I was never able to teach anybody how to hit a curveball.
Now, some players have a knack for doing that. How do you explain that? I mean, it's just a natural reaction.
Yeah, I think one of the hitters that I coached at, played in the big leagues, played for the Dodgers, I remember him saying a number of times he didn't even really know what pitch he hit. There were times you thought, well, he just really stayed behind that breaking ball well, and I'd say, were you looking breaking ball? And he's like, I didn't know it was a breaking ball. So
what they tell you sometimes, you hear coaches say, see the ball, hit the ball. That's a lot of players do that and don't know what they're hitting.
Sure, yeah. I think there's a lot to be said for the hitter that's not up there overthinking things. That's for sure. So many hitters are they overthink. One bad swing turns into a bad at bat, and a bad at bat turns into a bad game, and then before you know it, a week later they're in an 0 for 20 slump, and those are hard to get out of, especially for guys that really, really think. Sometimes the guy that's not the most intellectual thinker is the better hitter.
and who was it? Was it Stengel or some other coach who was telling the guy, maybe it was Yogi's manager telling him, you got to think what you're doing up there. And he said, Coach, I can't think and hit at the same time.
Yogi was a notorious bad ball hitter.
Yeah.
I mean, that was his MO. You couldn't throw him off the plate because he'd go. It didn't matter to him.
That's right. His favorite pitch was a pitch ball. So anyway, you have some players who are either in Division I or getting ready to play Division I baseball.
Yeah, we have a solid team. I'm proud of my roster. I have 5 kids committed to play college baseball in this senior class. One is going to be a Blue Raider, Owen Fogel. He's from here in Murfreesboro. I have 2 that are going to Columbia State. Both of them are Rutherford County residents as well, Sammy Ledbetter and Gunnar Bowles. And then Thomas Evans is a Murfreesboro kid as well. He was committed to Monroe. They had a coaching change. He's now committed to Tennessee Wesleyan. He's a pitcher, sidearm pitcher that can, has a world of talent. And then my fifth one is Ryan Edwards. He's a Shelbyville kid. He's going to Trevecca. Have a junior that's committed to Belmont that's an outfielder from Shelbyville, and Drew Baker. So we have a good team. So many great high school teams in Rutherford County. I would say the difference in our program is, we're sitting there at about 20 players on our roster, and your Riverdales, and Siegel has a great team this year. But their numbers are going to be, they probably have 40 kids in the program. So their depth's a little bit more involved with ours.
Yeah, and probably 40 more waiting in the wings.
Exactly.
Well, if you only got 16, that makes it tough to do an inter-squad.
It does. It's tougher to do that. But, we're barely over 300 students now. So there are some negatives to it. There are some positives as well. Your reps are more plentiful. I just think it's good for development. I think we've done a good job of developing guys from that first year that we got there. And also very proud of our team. Every single player on our roster was at Webb as a freshman. Kind of unheard of in this transfer age, but I'm proud of that.
So who do you have helping you over there?
Brady Puckett was a pitcher at Riverdale. We have a great he and I have a great relationship, but we kind of pick at each other a lot. And I tried to recruit him to middle, and he goes to Lipscomb. He has a really good career, kind of blows up and makes us look bad. So he made it to AAA. He's still playing in independent ball. He's a young, vibrant coach that takes. It's a good match for me because I'm not young, and we needed some youth. But he does a good job. He and I work together a lot on campus, and we take care of a lot of the grounds. And he's a great person to have. I also have a teacher in Seth Roberts who helps us as well. And then middle school, I have a coach in Justin Rose that coaches the middle school.
So, John, did you have some help, or was that a one-man show when you were the coach?
I actually had an assistant both years, so different guy. But, but I was the one that had to paint the backstop. I was the one that had to put down the lines for games. And since we didn't have fences, you had to draw those lines a long, long way.
It's been my experience in not only coaching youth baseball, but in working with college teams and pro teams, that the best people you can have are your managers. If you've got good managers, everything is smooth. If you don't, if you've got to do all of that stuff yourself, then it's tough, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm lucky to have. I just learned that Micah works here at the radio station, and he's great. He's whatever we asked him to do, he's been with us there at Webb, and then at middle, still really good friends with those
the Larimores.
The Larimores. I saw the Larimores this weekend, and they learned a heck of a work ethic when they were at middle, that's for sure.
So, Scott, when does your season start?
March 2nd is the first game. We got some scrimmages before that. First official practice is the second Monday of February, which is coming up here pretty quick. So,
okay, we're about out of time for this Monday edition of All Sports Talk. Scott Hall, who is a baseball coach at the Webb School in Bell Buckle, has been my guest, along with John Callow, my broadcast partner for Blue Raider Baseball and a former coach at the Webb School. So until next Monday, this is Dick Palmer. Thank you so much for joining us here on All Sports Talk.
Jennings. Subscribe to Big G TV, local content that matters to Rutherford County.